I would love to just to give you a quick update on DataCamp donates and where we're at and what the future looks like. So if we can continue on down the slides, we can get started there. Right, so first of all, before we actually get into DataCamp donates, I want to take a moment to speak about DataCamp for classrooms. Now, I've actually been getting a lot of applications coming in from various colleges, universities, high schools around the world to see if they could become DataCamp donates partners. And I just want to take a very, very brief moment to make sure that you're all aware that DataCamp for classrooms actually predates DataCamp donates for a while. And to date, if you move on to the next slide, we've given out over 500,000 we've given out licenses to over 500,000 academic users for free now to date. Now that number actually includes you all. DataCamp donates learners are grouped along with all of the DataCamp for Classrooms users when we're looking at this metric. So you're a part of a massive amount of people who have been able to get free DataCamp access. It's really amazing. And it could be even hard to visualize how big of a number 500,000 is. So I was actually playing around with our data team to help me do that. And if you move to the next slide, you'll see how we tried to do that. 500,000 people, really? That's like the capacity of 24 Madison Square Gardens. And if you were to stack humans like bricks, that would actually fill up 2 Madison Square Gardens. And if you socially distance 500,000 people by 6 feet, that would fill up the floor of the Grand Canyon. So as you can see, to date, in just a short about 5 years or so, we've supported a ton of people, and we're very, very excited to continue on this tradition. So moving forward, please, if you're spreading the love about DataCamp donates to teachers, please tell them about DataCamp for classrooms. The application process is a lot faster, it's a lot quicker, it's a lot simpler. And besides that, the only difference is that it's good for 6 months, at which point they have to reapply. But if you know any educators that would be interested in this, please send them to this URL. And we also just recently made it available to US high school teachers as well. So college, university teachers all around the world, US high school teachers now, and soon we hope to make it available for free to more high school teachers all around the world. As well, we are now also opening up access to students as young as 13, provided they get written parental consent. So again, breaking down the barriers, making DataCamp available to as many teachers and their students as possible. Moving forward, let's get down to the nitty-gritty of DataCamp donates, what you're all here for, a quick update. So man, it is just blowing up. 85 nonprofit partner organizations around the world, 10,000 licenses donated just this year alone. And we have over 24,000 licenses donated in total. So we're very, very close to achieving our goal of 25,000 licenses donated. So we're in that final stretch. I'm still trying to fit in as many organizations as possible. Before we get there. So once again, please share the word that we still have some love to give. Moving forward, I want to make sure that you all know about the website. DataCamp Donates has its own very special section on the DataCamp website. It's a long time coming. If you click forward one more time, we'll give you a very quick look. Yes, indeed, very exciting news. Just a couple of images of how the website breaks down exactly what we're trying to do here, the impact, the philosophy, and also what my favorite part, showcasing all of our partners in a really beautiful way. So moving forward, you'll see all of our stories page, right? So we've collected all the stories that me and my team have written about DataCamp donates partners and our social impact. We've collected them all nice in one place. So you can see that there. And if you have an idea for a guest blog post, please email me at nathaniel@datacamp.com. I've noted that our guest blog posts tend to do a bit better than ones written by me, or even if it's just a very quick testimonial, you want to tell me about a quick success story that you're able to place someone in a job after they got experience on DataCamp. Let me know. We can work something out. Maybe it's a social media post, maybe it's a whole blog post. But once again, I want to help you relay your success stories around the world. And this stories page is a great place to do it. Moving forward, and again, we have a partners page, which I'm really proud of. This is actually a little out of date already. But what's great about this section of the website is I have full autonomous control over it. So I can update it quickly and with your help, get your promotional content on there fast as well. It's a really cool map that I actually made in Tableau. That DataCamp really does work, and it's great. You hover over countries, you can see what other organizations are there taking advantage of DataCamp donates. So that's the website, I believe. There it is, datacamp.com/donates. This is what I need your help with in sharing. Please, if you're planning on a social media post in June to talk about our partnership, give an update, I would super appreciate it. And please link to our website, datacamp.com/donates. If you're just talking about it in person, you can also say DataCamp. Donates.com, datacampdonates.org. Those also will get you to the same place, but in writing, please use datacamp.com/donates. Please work with me. I want on this website. I want to showcase all of the raw talent and hard work that you guys are doing all around the world. So please don't be a stranger. And with that, I think that's all the updates for DataCamp donates in general. Oh, this one last thing. So we did a survey to some of our paid customers whose purchases actually made it possible for us to do the whole DataCamp donates program. And when we asked them what they think about the program, we got a tremendous amount of positive response. So this is just a little word cloud of the most common words that were given. So I just want to know that, like, not only is you all being supported by DataCamp, the company ourselves, but you're also being supported by the entire DataCamp community of learners around the world. So it makes me feel good. I hope it makes all y'all feel good as well. So that's it. Going forward, please put your questions in the chat or the Q&A section. I will be monitoring it, and next off, we're going to pass it off to Jen. I'm going to answer one question quickly right now because it's specifically about me, about the US high schools. Yeah, so for high school teachers, you need to be a US high school teacher to apply for DataCamp for classrooms. However, international high school teachers can still apply for free access by emailing me, Nathaniel@datacamp.com, and applying to become a DataCamp donates partner. But we will be rolling out more classrooms access throughout the year to more countries on an ad hoc, on a one at a time basis. So stay tuned for that. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to move it over to Jen, who's going to tell you all about certification.
Yeah, thanks, Nathaniel. As Nate said, if you have questions for this next section, please add it to the Q&A. We're not going to stop and answer questions during the short presentation, but we've left plenty of time at the end because we definitely want to address any concerns or questions that you guys have. So we're here today to introduce a couple of new products that DataCamp offers. I'm the head of career services. I've been with DataCamp nearly 3 years now in a variety of roles. And I've taken on this new area of career services, and I'll explain what that is in just a moment. So you guys are probably aware, but there's a huge demand for data scientists and data fluent individuals in the broader community. And DataCamp typically has tried to address the gap by educating people. And so what we really want to do is make sure that people can gain the data fluency that they want. And what we're now finding is that people don't necessarily have the credential documentation to show and the ability to connect with potential employers. And so that's what we're trying to do here. You guys are well aware of the learn side of courses and projects and assessments and practice. And what we're trying to do now is add in a certification and then career services to help you actually link to jobs. So what we're going to present in the next few slides is more details about these two areas. Amy?
Thanks, Jen. So yeah, I'm Amy. If we move on to the next slide, I'm the head of certification content at DataCamp. I've been here for just over 2 years now, working on a skill assessment product, and early this year moved across to join the team to work on certification. What does certification content mean? That's quite a strange term, but my team is basically responsible for everything from the starting point, defining what should be in the certification, and working right through to building the actual content that people take during that certification process. So one of the first things that my team has to answer is what should be in the certification. And we really want the certification to be a way for you and your learners to be able to demonstrate that they actually have the skills to perform the role of, in this case, data scientist. So we are working to answer the question, what does it take to work in the role of a data scientist? So if I'm going to do that day to day, what skills do I need to have? What knowledge do I need to have? And how do I need to go about it? So we took on the task of trying to answer this question. And we did that through analysis of job adverts. So what are people asking for? We went out and talked to data scientists. We basically used a huge bunch of resources to try and synthesize what does it take at this point in time to become a data scientist. And we found some really interesting things in this. So if we take a look at the next slide, the first thing we found, something I've heard, I've been working in the data science industry for quite some time now, and there is this constant battle of, should I learn Python? Should I learn R? Which one should I use? But what we found that was really interesting was that the specific technology isn't that important to getting a job. Most hiring managers will say one of Python or R. They're not looking for a specific technology. And interestingly, when we spoke to data scientists themselves about what they were doing and which tools they used to do that, they would quite often tell us that they would actually switch tools depending what they were doing. So they might start out in R, move to Python, move back to R. So they're really mixing and matching the two. So which technology, it's not actually as important as everyone maybe thinks it is. So the next thing we found was that SQL skills were really highly valued, probably almost the most common request from hiring managers was that people had SQL skills. So probably more than whether you have skills in a particular R or Python, you really need to have a good grasp of SQL, and data scientists themselves reported that they actually do spend a lot of time writing SQL code and querying databases. The final thing that we found was that communication is the most critical skill for a data scientist. So you can be the greatest data scientist in terms of being able to select the right model and fitting great models, being a great programmer, having all these SQL skills. But if you can't communicate effectively, you're not going to be able to do your job well. You're not going to be able to tell the people who need to know the outcomes of your analysis the right information in the right way. So you really have to be able to communicate to both technical and non-technical audiences. And this was by far the most common requirement from hiring managers and data scientists themselves, highlighting how important this skill was. So they were the three things we learned. So the three most important things we learned, we had to take all of that with a whole bunch of other things and form that into the certification as a way to show these skills. So if we move on to the next slide, we then were able to answer this question of what does it take to be a data scientist? And we found that these 6 skills that we've listed here, so everything from data management, so getting your data, getting it in the right format, coding, communication, and then all of the obviously stats and machine learning that you would expect. Those were the 6 core skills that data scientists need to have, along with the technologies, so SQL, Python, and R. And we wanted to incorporate all of that into the certification, and we wanted to assess all of these different skills and tools. So we took all that, and if we move on to the next slide, we created a 3-step process to get to a certification as a professional data scientist. So the first step of the certification is to take a whole bunch of timed assessments. So the timed assessments, if you've used assessments on the product before, you'll be familiar with these. It's the same format, same style. And these are really to test your knowledge. So do you have the right technical knowledge in each of these different areas? And that's the first step that you have to get to. Now, having that technical knowledge does not necessarily mean that you can take that knowledge and apply it. So the next step is what we call a coding challenge. And this is allowing us to test your ability to approach a problem and get to the solution with no guidance from us. So we're basically just throwing you in at the deep end here, giving you a coding challenge and seeing if you can put together the right pieces to get to the correct solution there. So this, if you've used the unguided projects, would be the most similar, but we are actually even less helpful, I guess is the best word to describe it than that. So we're really testing people's abilities there. The final step, so as we said, communication, really, really important. So we wanted to test this in a way that was really rigorous. So we finished the certification with a case study. And this is a two-part case study where everyone who goes through it has to put together a technical report as if they were writing to their data science manager, and then deliver a presentation as if they were talking to some non-technical people in the business that they were fictitiously working for. So really drilling into those communication skills. Can they really portray what needs to be shown there? And once all these three steps are done successfully, we will then award the certification and say, yes, you have all of the skills to be able to perform this role. At that point, we would hand over to Career Services, but before I pass back to Jen to talk you through that, I just wanted to answer the question that gets asked quite a lot. So if we move on to the last slide from this section, is what should I take to get to this level? So there's probably a good chance some of you are sitting there thinking, this is all great, but I need to get to that point first. How do I get there? So this is kind of what we would recommend. So starting out with the content in something like the Data Scientist with Python or the Data Scientist with our career tracks, that will build up those fundamental skills around working with data, analytics, those sorts of things. I'd also recommend the SQL fundamentals skill track. So that's going to build those SQL skills for you. I'd personally recommend go and take some projects, things like that, to build up those skills as well. But these that you see on the screen here are really those core skills that are going to help you progress towards that certification. And with that, I'm going to hand back to Jen.
Thanks, Amy. So what do you do once you have the certification in hand? You'll feel really proud, and then you're like, well, I want to put it to good use. So the way we've set up Career Services is that once you have a certification, we'll work with you one-on-one and really personalize what support you get, because everyone comes at this a little bit different in terms of their background and their end goals. And so there's not really a one size fits all situation. There are resources, of course, that we're sharing with everybody, but in order for you to achieve your career goals of whether entering a data scientist role, slowly transitioning into a more data-oriented role, we want to help you. And so what we do is we'll review your personal brand. So your resume, your portfolio, your LinkedIn profile. We'll provide feedback to help you showcase your skills and your knowledge and your experience with the end goal in mind. You'll have the opportunity to meet with career coaches and support you along the way. And then ideally with some networking and job search support. We're not at the point of necessarily doing one-for-one matching between jobs and certified users, but hopefully we get there. But at the very least, we want to help you network and start making connections in the world you want to be in. So really, it's all about you, the person who's certified. So any of you who are admins for your group, like this could really help take some of the burden and work with you guys in supporting your students who are trying to achieve their goals. Just some early feedback. We've really only launched certification and career services in the last few months, and we've had a number of people already go through the process. And this is just some of the early feedback we've gotten from certified learners about both the certification and career services side. I wanted to highlight, if any of you are individuals who are trying to learn on DataCamp and want to find out more, I do have a webinar in 2 weeks on June 10th. We'll share the link out in the chat section shortly. It's going to be it's open to everybody. You don't have to have a certification in order to attend. Anyone's welcome to this event. It will really be about how do you establish your personal brand for a data science role. So how do you position yourself? How do you structure your resume, your portfolio, and LinkedIn profiles to help you get started down the path? It's very broad. It's obviously not specific to you. As an individual, we would discuss that in career coaching sessions, but this hopefully will get you inspired and get started and give you some good tips for getting going. So now we're going to go into Q&A. I see there are already some questions coming in. If you have any questions, please be sure to put them in the Q&A box, and we will get going. I'm going to stop sharing the screen so that I can look at the Q&A document, and then Amy, Nathaniel, and I will answer as they come in.
Excellent. Yes, thank you. Please, by all means, throw those questions, get all those questions in the chat. There's a lot potentially to go over. First question, will this presentation be shared? Not the slides, but the video of the presentation will be shared directly to the DataCamp Donates learners. So again, this is specific to DataCamp Donates learners. We really wanted to give you guys as much of a heads up notice about this as possible, because it's so in line with what so many of these wonderful groups are doing, namely trying to get people jobs. Next question is, yeah.
I got it here. So I see there's a question about booking time for career services. So career services, in terms of individual consultations, those only happen once someone is certified. So once you complete the certification process, that's when you can start booking individual sessions. There are some resources that you can access in terms of articles and blog posts and videos that will help you get started. But in terms of the personalized stuff, that's really intended for those who get certified.
I can take the next one. So when is this going to be available to DC Donates partners, and is there any extra cost? You should have access to this already. You should now, if you log into datacamp.com, see a certification tab across the top. That's where you can get access to the certification process. And once you've gone through that, as Jen says, career services, and there are no extra costs. So I'm super excited about this. I think everyone else is, that we're offering this completely for free to all DC Donates partners.
And I want to add on to that. That includes all career services. So some of you might be used to having to pay a fortune for career coaching. This is all part of the subscription. So you don't have to pay any extra to get all of these services. So it really supports DataCamp's mission here in democratizing data science for everybody.
We've got another question on the certification. So for the certification, will the test or case study be analysed manually, or are they automated tests? Yeah, this is a really good question. I didn't answer it as I was going through. The timed assessments and the coding challenge are automatically graded. So yeah, you'll get your results as you go through. The case study, it is a really rigorous process, and it is manually graded. So that is managed by my team. You submit that, we manually grade your technical report, and then your presentation as well. So that's a manually graded piece.
More for you, Abe.
Oh, more for me. What's the window to retaking the certifications? Yeah, we get asked this quite a lot. In terms of like timelines, once you start the certification, you can take, as I'm sure our product manager would want me to encourage you to take it really quickly, but you can take as long as you want. There is no time limit on how long it takes you to finish the certification. You can retake individual pieces as much as you need to. We're not going to make you, it's not a certification process where you get all the way to the end, then discover you failed one piece and have to go back and retake it. You can retake the individual components as much as you need. So if you get to the case study and you need to redo the technical report, we're only going to make you redo that piece. We're not going to make you do all the rest as well. So you've got as long as you want, you can redo as much as you need, and we'll support you as much as we can in that process.
I see the next question is for me. It looks like whoever wrote this, Tanya, is from Colombia and wants to know if there's support and community for finding data scientist roles outside of the US or in Colombia or elsewhere. This is actually a pretty common question. DataCamp serves the world. So in career services, we are working with all candidates, not just US centric. We may not be initially fluent in all the nuances of the community where you're from, but we'll put the time and research in to make sure to be able to support you the best way we can. Also, having hired many data scientists over the years and really being part of the community, I know it's a very international oriented job. I don't know why it is, but there are many people who are crossing borders, working for multinational companies, living in one country, but working for a company based in another. And we really try to work with you. This is where the customized career services really come into play, because there's no way we could predict all of the combinations of where someone lives and where they want to work. And it's really complicated. And then the surge in remote work has made life even more complicated for job searching. So we'll support you and try to find the best solution in working with you.
Yeah, if I could just add on to that also, one of the great things about DataCamp Donates and how fast it's grown is that, we have partner organizations, like over 85 partner organizations in over 80 countries all around the world. So these are, and they're all finally with our website, and you can look at an up-to-date list. So if you're looking just for opportunities to network or perhaps a volunteer to actually do some data work, and you can afford to give some of your time and resources, by all means, I think that would be a fantastic way to start making inroads and making connections in other countries, if that's what you're interested in. If you're interested in traveling, there's the DataCamp Donates community of all these partner organizations. And one thing I would like to do more in the future is create more opportunities like this for us all to get together and just talk. And then, of course, there's also just the general DataCamp global Slack community, which you are all invited to be a part of as well. Yeah, lots of opportunities for you.
And to piggyback on that, actually, for the certified learners, as well as those at the very end stage of the certification, they're actually invited to a private Slack group on DataCamp Global, where you can network with each other. And we post some resources there for individuals from the career services side. So that's an invite-only private Slack channel that's intended for those who are already certified. So it's really opening up a lot of doors and networking for you.
So I think there's a few more questions around this certification. So can you tell us again the courses that we should take to prepare? Yeah, so the courses I would recommend, so start with the data scientist career tracks. So either data scientist with Python or data scientist with R. You don't need to do both, just pick one. And then move on to the SQL fundamentals skill track. You can do those in either order, it doesn't really matter. I will also just say, I didn't mention this as we talked through, but if you take the timed assessments and you find you're not quite at the right level, after the end of the assessment, it will give you recommendations of, here are some courses you could go take to fill in your gaps. So start with, so it's the data scientist tracks, either R or Python, SQL fundamentals. But if you find you're not quite there, it will give you some recommendations at the end to help point you in the right direction.
I see a question here about access to certification. It looks like someone maybe started with DataCamp through DC Donates, but then no longer has a subscription through that. all individual premium subscribers still have access to certification. So you can continue on. You would not lose any of your momentum. If you're using your same account, email, it would carry over all your past experience and any takes that you've had in the skill assessment. So it should carry over just fine if you've moved over to a paid subscription. And vice versa, if you started with a paid subscription, but then become part of a group, your history should carry over with you. Keep the questions coming. They're great questions.
Yes. Just a question about the URL for the DataCamp Donates website, www.datacamp.com/donates. Let's see here, what else? We have a question from Elena coming in right now. Do we have a limited time window to take the certification? You might have answered a piece of this before.
Yeah, I can answer that. So no, you can take as long as you want. Well, I suppose maybe as long as you have your DC Donates access, but yeah, you can take as long as you want. If you've got a year's access and it takes you a year, that's absolutely fine. And yeah, you can retake elements as you go. So if you're not certain if you're ready, go take the timed assessments, see how you do, and get those recommendations, and it will help you get started there.
So I have another question. Someone else international based in Nepal, can this help me get an online remote job? Ideally, yes. The whole value of the certification is to prove your skills as a data scientist. It's intended for an entry-level data scientist role. And so whether the job is remote or local, that shouldn't matter. It should be able to showcase to a potential employer what you have in terms of skills, and it can, that along with some portfolio projects can really demonstrate your abilities. So it can help, absolutely. It's not a guarantee. That's why we in career services really look at how you package yourself. So how are you representing your skills and your experience on your resume? How are you writing your cover letters? It's a selling game, which is really awful for those of you who might be like me, who are very much introverts. Like, you have to showcase yourself in your best light. And so what we do at career services is really help you bridge that gap and make it a no-brainer for potential employers that they want you on their team. So it's regardless of whether it's a remote or in-office type position, this should help you.
Yeah, so more on the certification. So is the certificate only for data scientists? So yeah, I think probably seen another question somewhere as well about other certifications. So yeah, at the moment, the certification is only for the data scientist role. But I will say we are looking into other roles. We are in the very, very early stages of the research for a data analyst certification. So I hope to see that before the end of the year. So yeah, at the moment, only data scientist, but we do expect more roles to come over time.
Great. I see a couple of questions coming in regarding what would happen after losing free access to DataCamp Donates. If you've already gotten the certification, then that stays with you. It will now never be taken away from you, like any statement of accomplishment. But if for whatever reason you lose free access halfway through, just regaining free access or paying for premium will get you access again. Keep in mind all of our partnerships are based off of a year-long agreement. And talking specifically to our admins right now, everyone at DataCamp loves this program, especially everyone on the leadership team. So if we're coming up on that 1 year mark, now's the time to start thinking about how we can strengthen our partnerships through cross promotion, just by sharing each other's stories more, so that we could potentially turn that 1 year into 2 years and give your communities even further access, because I'd love to do that if possible. Hope that answers your question. Question from Zin, is the certificate only for data scientists?
Yeah, so at the moment, so as I was just saying, at the moment, it's only a data scientist role. So yeah, if you're looking to get into a job as a data scientist, this will help you to show those skills that you have those skills. And then, yeah, as Jen was describing, her team will help you to put that in the best light and sell yourself to employers.
I definitely want to highlight sometimes you may be transitioning from a different career all in its totality into a data science role. And you might be wondering, do I have the right background? What the certification does is verifies your skills so that you're job ready as a data scientist. What we do in career services is help you showcase those skills and enhance your past experience so that we can bridge any gaps that may exist. We're working with individuals who come either from straight out of college, from academia, from post-grad work, from people who are physicists, who are bankers, who are data analysts, who all want the title of data scientist and need help to transition. We have computer scientists who really come from the engineering background who decided they actually prefer data. So we're working with people from all sorts of backgrounds, whether they're straight from university, straight from non-university, whether they're coming from college or boot camps or high school even, and really trying to help them break through. I do want to emphasize this is meant for an entry-level data scientist role. So if you're thinking you'll pass this and become a data scientist lead, you do still need to have the years of experience. It's not going to skip any steps on the career path to get you there. What we're trying to do is help you get your first step in.
Yeah, it's a really great replacement if you haven't gone through like a maths or stats or even now data science degree at university. This is a great way to show to employers, look, I've got the skills. We are quite rigorous in what we do. We're not just giving this to people. You really have to demonstrate that you have the skills. So it's a really good alternative to that if you want to show someone, I know everything that's needed to be a data scientist.
And in talking with lots of employers, the feedback that I keep getting is they don't care if you know every function in every package. What they care about is, can you problem solve and really talk about how you approach the business problem that was put in front of you and talk about potential solution. So that's why the communication piece is so essential and the case study piece of the certification is so essential, because it's a very practical example of taking your technical skills and then putting your sort of analytical minds to great use, and being what employers want is you to be able to express how you solve the problem, not necessarily what function you use to solve the problem.
I think we're getting a lot of questions about the time window for the certifications, like how long do you have to do it, when do you need to have finished it by? And there is no time window. You can start whenever you want, you can take as long as you want to finish it. There really is no window there. So yeah, you can get started today if you want. Go sign up to certification right now. So it's datacamp.com/certification. I think I probably got that wrong now, but you'll find it from the homepage. There's a tab at the top, certification. It will ask you a question or two, and you can get started straight away. You can start taking those timed assessments, see how you're doing. Go finish taking any courses that you want to take, come back, take the assessments again. There's target scores that you need to get for those. So you'll see all of that information on the page. Once you've passed the score, you've passed that element, you can move on to the coding challenge when you're ready. And once you've passed both of those two, you've got that case study element. And again, you can take as long as you need for that. So it doesn't matter if it takes you 3 days or 3 months or 3 years, you can just keep going and working through. So yeah, no time windows, take as long as you need to get through.
There's also a question about the Slack group. So everyone who has a subscription to DataCamp, regardless of the type of subscription, everyone's welcome to the global Slack group. So when you're on your home screen, when you log into DataCamp, it should be up over by where it says My Account. And you can click that link and gain access to the Slack, larger global Slack group. For the career services specific one, it's invite only private channel, and that's really intended just for those who are at the end stage of certification or past the certification. So once you hit that threshold, we'll add you into that group and you can start talking to other users.
Great. Still have, if people still have questions, we still have about 15 minutes left in our time window. I guess I have a couple of questions for the both of you. How long has certification been in the works and career services?
That's a hard question to answer.
Yeah.
So we started as a team in, I'm going to say January. So it was around January time this year. But I guess in reality, the idea of certification has been something that's been around a little longer than that. Anyone who's been using DataCamp for a while will know assessment has been around for a couple of years now. That's what started when I joined DataCamp. I came onto the assessment team. And we've always been working with this kind of goal in mind of that it was something we'd like to do. So it's kind of been in the works for a long time, but as a formal product, it launched, I can't remember when, a couple of months ago. And yeah, as a team, we've been here since the start of the year.
Cool. Yeah, it's really impressive the amount of work that it feels like yesterday when it was announced internally that this is something we were going to be working on, and now it just exists, and that's just super cool to see. I think it's also a good opportunity to note just all the amazing features on DataCamp that come with your DataCamp Donates membership. Because I see, occasionally I snoop around, see what people are doing, and obviously everyone's hitting the courses. Some people are doing whole tracks for sure, but other things like practice modules, unguided and unguided projects, definitely could be seeing some more activity. Those are really great ways to diversify your experience on DataCamp. If you haven't downloaded the mobile app, do that too. You can keep learning on the go as we're finally able in different parts of the world things are starting to open up. We can walk around again, take public transit. It's weird, but it's cool. Those are all available to you as well. And again, please share those. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, I would definitely recommend having got the projects. I think the projects are a really great way to start to bridge from the courses towards what we're asking of people in the certification. So if you're feeling a bit unsure, start with the guided projects. They'll kind of walk you through what you need to do, and then you can step up to the unguided projects that give you a bit more room to try things out yourself. They've got nice videos as well if you get stuck. So they're quite nice stepping stones as well towards some of the skills we test in the certification. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that.
I wanted to put a little plug in. I added a link in the chat box for everybody to the June 10th webinar. It's at 11 o'clock Eastern, or I don't know, all the different time zones from there. But everyone's welcome. It's done on multiple platforms. You don't need to have an active subscription. It hopefully will help inspire you. And it's not about DataCamp in terms of learning or even about certification. It's really about you and how you can start positioning yourself in your resume and LinkedIn profile to stand out in a data science application pool. There is a shortage of data scientists. It may not feel like it if you're applying to things and you have that big black hole of no responses. But what we're trying to do is help you start getting responses.
Yeah, we've got a couple more questions come up about the certification as well. So how do you sign up for the certification? So that's going to, I've said this link so many times, I really hope it's right, datacamp.com/certification, or yeah, from the homepage, you should see the certification tab at the top. Just go there, it will ask, there's a nice get started button, click that, it'll ask you, I think, a couple of questions, and then you're straight in to the certification, and you can start taking the content. And another question on whether XP matters in the certification. No, it doesn't. You can have 1 million XP or 0 XP, and you can still earn the certification if you've got the right skills. So don't be put off by any need to take any number of courses beforehand. If you think you're ready, go get started, and you can take the certification.
Excellent. I think that's about it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. If this was a handy session for you, if this has been helpful, if you would like to do something like this again, obviously for big announcements like this, but or just opportunities as a DataCamp Donates update over Zoom, any feedback you have to give about this session, please let me know. You can reach out to me at nathaniel@datacamp.com. We have a question from Mary. What does target mean in the assessment?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'm guessing I got the link right, because that probably means someone's been and had a look. When you go to the certification page, what you will see is that there's a column related to the assessments that says target. That's the target score. So as you take an assessment, it's an adaptive assessment, so you'll get harder questions if you keep getting them right, and as it goes through, it's figuring out your score. It's on a scale of 0 to 200, so there is a target score that you have to reach for each assessment, which is basically the point at which you have the skills for an entry-level data scientist. So that's what the target is, and as you finish the assessment, it will tell you what you scored and whether you are above or below that target.
All right, any other questions? Okay. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up. I want to give a huge thank you to Jen, to Amy for joining me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I want to give a huge thank you to all of our DataCamp Donates admins and learners who joined today. Please share the word about certification. Get certified. Let us know once you get certified. Definitely let me know if you get certified and you make it to career services. I think that was the perfect time to let me know that, hey, we have a big success on our hands with DataCamp Donates. But let's keep it as impartial as possible. I would love for you all to just go through the certification process as normal, but definitely once you get to talk with Jen and other people on the career services team, definitely, absolutely let us know that you're a DataCamp Donates learner. That's because we want to be able to share that success story and ultimately help you and your nonprofit communities get you jobs. Okay, so thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.